Scientists were perplexed. Comets do disintegrate, yes, but the way and speed at which Atlas fragmented were anomalous. Suddenly, that celestial Grand Canyon turned into a cloud of debris, a kind of cosmic jigsaw puzzle hurtling toward us. What would you do if you saw this in the sky outside your window, a star breaking into 1,000? Tell us in the comments. Imagine the scene. You're camped in the Mojave Desert, under a seemingly endless, starry sky, and you see a shooting star. Beautiful, fleeting. Now think of that same star, but it doesn't fall. It approaches, and instead of being a single light, it begins to multiply, to divide, as if something inside it were exploding. This is precisely the sense of mystery and apprehension that gripped the scientific community. It was no longer just a comet. It was a high-speed enigma, a mystery that challenged decades of astronomical knowledge. Was it a random structural failure? Or was there something more sinister at play? Something we still couldn't fathom? If this story is leaving you speechless, follow the channel now for more cosmic explorations and like the video to help spread the word. Initially, the most logical explanation for the fragmentation of 3IAtlas would be pressure from the sun. Comets are icy bodies that, as they approach our star, sublimate their ice, creating the characteristic tail. But the data didn't add up. The disintegration occurred at a considerable distance from the sun, where the pressure wouldn't be sufficient to cause such a dramatic event. It was like watching a car on Route 66, an American classic, disintegrate in the middle of the road for no apparent reason. Astronomers from Harvard, JPL, and the SETI Institute began to develop alternative scenarios, each more intriguing than the last. One of the first thoughts was the possibility of a collision. Perhaps Atlas had hit a smaller asteroid, a piece of space rock invisible to our telescopes. But analysis of the fragments suggested an internal rupture, a structural weakness that didn't appear to have been caused by an external impact. It was as if the object had a design flaw at its very core. This makes me wonder, what if the next visitor is from an even older system with even more complex secrets? Leave your alien story ideas in the comments. The turning point came with spectroscopic analysis. While most comets exhibit a relatively predictable composition, 3IAtlas began emitting signals that didn't align with the pattern. There were traces of elements and compounds that, while not entirely unknown, were present in proportions and arrangements that defied the natural formation of a comet. It was like finding a computer chip inside an ancient rock in the Grand Canyon, something that simply shouldn't be there. The scientific community, accustomed to seeing the universe as a vast laboratory of well-defined laws, suddenly found itself faced with an experiment that rewrote the rules. Does it make you feel small when you think about the immensity of the universe and these mysteries? Or does it inspire you to dream bigger and seek answers? Share your vision. Remember that time you were driving along Route 66, with your cell phone signal fading and you feeling isolated, with no answers to your questions? That's exactly how many scientists feel now, with data coming in but explanations lacking. A true, real-time thriller. Don't stop there. Subscribe and turn on notifications for weekly itineraries that will blow your mind. With conventional explanations failing, the human mind, ever eager for answers, began to wander down less orthodox paths. If it wasn't the sun, nor a common collision, what could it be? Theories began to pop like water balloons on a hot Texas summer day. Some suggested that 3IAtlas might be a type of sleeper comet, undergoing a late and anomalous fragmentation event, perhaps due to a rare combination of volatile ices in its nucleus. Others, with a glint in their eyes that would make Mulder and Scully feel right at home, began to whisper about more exotic possibilities. After all, the universe is vast and our understanding is still limited. Do you think it's a decommissioned alien probe disintegrating? Or just a crazy comet that broke all the rules? Vote in the comments. The idea that 3IAtlas might not be a natural comet is not entirely new in astrophysics. Interstellar objects, like the famous Oumuamua, have already shown us that deep space can send us visitors with shapes and behaviors that defy our classifications. Oumuamua, with its elongated shape and inexplicable acceleration, already made us question whether we were looking at a comet or something manufactured. 3IAtlas, although different in its manifestation, brought back the same sense of puzzlement. Could we be looking at an artifact? A piece of alien technology that, for some unknown reason, is falling apart as it approaches us? It's like an episode of The X-Files, but with real data from NASA and space agencies around the world trying to decipher the mystery. Scientists are now poring over the data with a new perspective. Each fragment, each spectral emission, is analyzed as a piece of a cosmic puzzle that could redefine our place in the universe. Could 3IAtlas be a relic of an ancient civilization, an abandoned object that, over time, succumbed to the forces of space? Or perhaps, and this is a spine-chilling theory, it is a kind of cosmic seed, designed to disintegrate and spread something, perhaps life, perhaps information, to new star systems. The implication of a manufactured object is enormous. We're not just talking about life on other planets, but intelligence, engineering beyond our comprehension. It's the kind of scenario that would make Hollywood screenwriters from Independence Day to Arrival jump out of their chairs, because reality, in this case, can be much stranger than fiction. Imagine if this object were a kind of time capsule sent by a distant civilization, and now, as it disintegrates, it's releasing not just ice fragments, but information, data, or even signals. The SETI team has intensified its monitoring, scanning space for any anomalies in the radio spectrum. But so far, the cosmic silence persists, broken only by the whispers of fragments continuing their journey. How about a script for what happens if it collides with something along the way, or if it releases a message? Suggest topics for the next video. If you've ever stayed up late questioning the meaning of life, like me on rainy nights in Seattle, lost in thoughts about our place in the universe, this mystery is for you. It's proof that even with all our science and technology, the cosmos still holds secrets that make us feel like explorers in an unknown land, like the first settlers crossing the Grand Canyon for the first time, unsure of what they'd find. Enjoyed it? Follow the channel to delve into more riddles and share with a friend who loves the unknown. The search for answers about 3IAtlas intensified, turning what seemed like an astronomical mystery into a race against time to decipher the unknown. The world's largest observatories, from Mauna Kea in Hawaii to La Silla in Chile, turned their powerful eyes to the comet's fragments, hoping to capture the missing piece of the puzzle. Spectroscopic data, which analyzed the object's light signature, became the primary tool. It's like trying to identify the origin of a mysterious car on Route 66 by analyzing only tire tracks and exhaust fumes. Every detail counts, but interpretation is everything. What they were looking for was any anomaly, any trace of a composition that didn't fit familiar comet formation models. Could there be heavy metals in unusual proportions, or perhaps isotopes that suggested an unnatural process? The difficulty is immense. Distinguishing between an extremely rare natural phenomenon and disintegrating alien technology is a challenge bordering on science fiction. Scientists are trained to seek natural explanations first, but when data challenges every known model, the mind inevitably opens to the unthinkable. It's like a detective in Los Angeles who, after ruling out all human suspects, must consider the possibility of something supernatural. The fragility of the fragments, for example, is a point of contention. Comets are generally loose clumps of ice and dust, but the abrupt, almost programmed nature of the 3IAtlas breakup, rather than a gradual erosion, raised eyebrows. Was this a characteristic of an artificial material, designed to disintegrate under certain conditions, or simply a peculiarity of a comet from an unexplored region of the Oort cloud? The sleeper comet theory has gained more adherents among skeptics. They argue that Atlas could have a core composed of supervolatile ices, which, exposed to solar radiation after millions of years in the cold of deep space, reacted explosively. Think of a soda that, after being stirred for too long, explodes when opened. But even this explanation has holes, as the distance from the sun was still too great for most explosive sublimation scenarios. What if the explosion wasn't a disintegration but an activation, a release of internal components that had previously been inert? This is the frontier where science meets the most audacious speculation, a place where even Carl Sagan would have reveled, questioning the limits of our knowledge. Meanwhile, the 3IAT team is monitoring each new discovery. With each new image, each new line of spectral data, the tension mounts. It's not just a comet. It's a mirror reflecting our own ignorance about the vast universe. Do you think we, as humanity, are ready for a discovery that could change our view of everything? Tell us in the comments. Imagine you're at home, on a quiet night in rural Texas, and suddenly the news announces that an object in space is behaving in a way that defies all science. It's no longer a movie story. It's your reality. That's the feeling that hangs in the air among the scientific community, a mixture of dread and fascination. Astronomers are now also searching for patterns in the 3IAtlas fragments. If it were an artificial structure, would there be some symmetry, some repetition that would indicate intelligent design? Or are they just random pieces of a space rock? Every day, more computing power is directed toward trajectory simulations and disintegration modeling, trying to replicate what was observed. It's a monumental endeavor, like trying to reassemble a million-piece jigsaw puzzle without knowing what the final image will look like. And with each new simulation that fails to explain the phenomenon, the natural but unknown theory weakens a little further, making way for the artificial and perhaps dangerous. And don't miss any chapter of this cosmic saga. Subscribe to 3IAT and activate the bell to continue exploring the mysteries the universe sends us. The possibility that 3IAtlas is something more than a common comet, something manufactured, is a spine-chilling idea. If simulations fail to explain its natural disintegration, if there are traces of anomalous elements, then the door opens to scenarios that previously belonged exclusively to science fiction. We're talking about cosmic engineering, an intelligence beyond our own. It's not just a space rock, it's a possible artifact, a relic of a civilization that may no longer exist, or that is watching from afar. The implication is monumental. We are not alone, and this evidence may be disintegrating right before our eyes. It's as if we found a piece of an ancient, rusted, and broken machine in the middle of the Arizona desert, but knowing it came from another planet. For some scientists, this is the only explanation that truly fits the data. The way 3IAtlas fragmented into multiple pieces that appeared to follow a pattern rather than a chaotic dispersion suggests an internal structure that gave way. Could it have been some kind of probe? A reconnaissance satellite that failed its mission and is now falling apart? Or perhaps an even bolder idea. 3IAtlas could be a vector for directed panspermia. Panspermia is the theory that life can be transported through space from planet to planet. But the directed version suggests that this life, or at least its basic components, were intentionally sent. If 3IAtlas were carrying spores, microorganisms, or even genetic code, its disintegration could be the method for spreading this seed to new systems, including our own. It's an idea that would make even Carl Sagan rise from his grave for a new episode of Cosmos. The risk, then, wouldn't just be a collision. It would be the risk of biological contamination, a silent invasion by something that doesn't belong in our biosphere. Planetary protection protocols, which usually focus on preventing our probes from contaminating other worlds, would have to be reversed. What if what we're observing isn't a physical threat, but a biological one? A cosmic Trojan horse. NASA and other space agencies have teams dedicated to contact scenarios, but the reality of an object that disintegrates and scatters its contents is something else entirely. If 3IAtlas carries a message, do you think we're ready to hear it? Or should we prepare for the worst? Tell us in the comments. The scientific community is divided. On one side, there are those who tirelessly seek a natural explanation, however complex. On the other, there are those who see in 3IAtlas proof that the universe is far more inhabited and mysterious than we dare imagine. The pressure is immense. Data keeps coming in, but interpretation is a minefield of uncertainty and speculation. It's a debate that echoes in the corridors of academia and at bars in New York, where astrophysicists gather to discuss the latest observations. Imagine sitting in your living room watching a science fiction documentary and suddenly realize the film's plot is unfolding in the sky above your head. Think of those sci-fi movies you watched as a child at a Texas drive-in theater, where the threat came from outer space. Now imagine it's happening for real above us. It's not an Independence Day-style alien invasion, but a more subtle and perhaps more profound revelation, one that challenges our origins and our future. Telescopes continue to scan the skies, monitoring every tiny fragment, every shift in its orbit, every new spectral emission. The search for patterns continues, for any sign that 3IAtlas is not just a lump of ice and dust, but something that was built. Are we about to unravel the greatest mystery in human history, or just witness an extraordinarily rare natural phenomenon? Time is running out, and with each passing day, the object moves away, taking its clues with it, or perhaps scattering them even further. The urgency is palpable, as if we were in a race against time to decipher a cosmic code before it disappears forever. If you're as intrigued as we are, leave a like on this video and share it with anyone you think needs to know about 3IAtlas. And if you have a crazy theory about what it might be, leave it in the comments. The best ones might appear in a future video. The urgency is palpable, as if we're in a race against time to decipher a cosmic code before it disappears forever. Scientists, now armed with a new battery of data and the adrenaline of a discovery that could redefine history, are employing the most advanced techniques to scan each fragment of 3IAtlas. It's no longer just about observing, it's a hunt for evidence, a search for a signature that screams, "I'm not from here." Space telescopes like Hubble and the future James Webb Space Telescope, simulations are already being made for when it's fully operational, are being used to capture high-resolution images and light spectra that could reveal the fragment's precise chemical composition. The focus now is on searching for even more subtle spectral anomalies. They're looking for ratios of rare elements, unusual isotopes, or complex molecules that shouldn't form naturally on a comet. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but the needle, in this case, might be made of a material we don't even know about. Are we looking for something our science doesn't yet have a name for? The SETI team, for their part, isn't just listening. They're analyzing the fragment's disintegration patterns. If the object were an artificial structure, its breakup might follow a geometric pattern or a non-random sequence, like puzzle pieces disintegrating in a specific order. The pressure to find a definitive answer is immense. Governments are curious, the public is anxious, and the scientific community is at a tipping point. Some argue that any evidence of artificiality should be treated with the utmost skepticism, seeking natural explanations until the last breath. These scientists, as guardians of orthodoxy, fear that the excitement could lead to hasty conclusions, transforming an extraordinary natural phenomenon into a science fiction narrative. They argue, the universe is too vast for there not to be phenomena that seem alien to us simply because of our lack of knowledge. On the other hand, a growing faction of researchers inspired by figures like Carl Sagan and his calls for open-mindedness believe it is our responsibility to consider all possibilities, no matter how radical. They see the disintegration of 3IAtlas not as an end, but as a beginning, a liberation of its true purpose. If the object was intentionally designed to disintegrate as it approached a habitable star system, then each fragment could be a piece of a message or a biological seed. It's a scenario that would make us reevaluate everything we know about the origin of life on Earth and our place in the cosmos. Picture the scene. You're in a NASA laboratory in Pasadena, California, and an anomalous signal appears on the screen. It's not noise, it's not interference, it's a pattern, a sequence that defies randomness. What would you do? This is the tension that permeates the corridors of observatories and research institutes. Could 3IAtlas, in its disintegration, be releasing a kind of technological time capsule designed to open only when in contact with the atmosphere of a planet like Earth? Or perhaps, are we simply witnessing the last gasps of an interstellar object that has traveled for billions of years, worn down by radiation and gravitational forces? The search for a cosmic Rosetta Stone continues. Scientists are developing artificial intelligence algorithms to search for complex patterns in the data, something the human mind may not be able to discern. It's like trying to understand an alien language without a dictionary, but hoping that the structure of the language itself will reveal its meaning. Do you think humanity is ready to receive a message from a distant civilization? Or would it be better if 3IAtlas remained an unsolved mystery? Leave your opinion in the comments. The truth is that, with each passing day, 3IAtlas moves further away, and its fragments scatter. The window of opportunity to collect critical data is closing. It's a race against time, against the vastness of space, and perhaps against our own ability to understand what's right before our eyes. The story of 3IAtlas reminds us that the universe is a place of infinite possibilities, a stage for cosmic dramas that far surpass any Hollywood script. And the most fascinating thing is that we, with our telescopes and our insatiable curiosity, are the spectators and, who knows, the protagonists of this saga. If you're feeling this cosmic rush, like the video and share it with all your friends who love a good mystery. And to not miss the next chapter of this saga, subscribe to 3IAt and activate the bell now. And so, As 3IAtlas drifts away, taking most of its secrets with it, the scientific community finds itself at a new level of understanding. There is no single, easy answer to its nature. The evidence of anomalous disintegration, the peculiar spectral signatures, and the failure of conventional simulations to replicate its behavior have left us with more questions than definitive answers. In the end, 3IAtlas turned out to be neither an alien probe with a clear message nor an ordinary comet that could be easily categorized. It became a symbol of our relentless quest for knowledge and the unfathomable vastness of the universe, which continues to surprise us with phenomena that defy our logic. Therefore, the unknown risk 3IAtlas posed wasn't an imminent collision or a Hollywood-style invasion. The real risk, the silent threat, was ignorance itself, the risk of not questioning, of not expanding our mental and scientific horizons. It forced us to confront, palpably and with real data, the possibility that the cosmos is far stranger, far more complex, and perhaps far more inhabited than we dared imagine. And in this sense, 3IAtlas fulfilled its purpose, albeit unintentionally, to redefine our place in the universe, expanding our perception of what is possible. The story of 3IAtlas is, at its core, the story of human curiosity in the face of the unknown, a saga of cosmic detectives that, even without an immediate final solution, forever transformed the way we look at the stars and at science. The research teams haven't given up. Far from it. The data collected, even incomplete due to the rapid dispersion of the fragments and the increasing distance, are an invaluable treasure. They will be analyzed for years, perhaps decades, fueling new models, new theories, and who knows, preparing us for the next interstellar visitor. 3IAtlas may have become a distant shadow, a point of light fading into the darkness, but its legacy will endure. It is a constant reminder that the greatest mysteries of the universe are not just to be solved, but to inspire us to dream bigger, to innovate in science, and to look to the heavens with a new sense of wonder, questioning, and humility. The race against time may be over for this particular object, but the race for knowledge will never end. And so, as 3IAtlas continues its solitary journey back into the icy depths of space, it leaves us with one certainty. The universe never ceases to challenge us, to test us, and to amaze us. It invites us to keep exploring, to keep imagining, to keep asking questions, with an open mind and the spirit of a true pioneer. It is precisely this quest, this incessant curiosity, that defines us as a species. It is what drives us to look upward, as the first American explorers looked to the vast unknown West, always searching for the next horizon, the next great mystery that might rewrite our history books. 3IAtlas's journey may have reached its visible end, but ours, the human journey toward the cosmos, is just beginning, richer and more questioning than ever.